So in a previous video, I discussed my appreciation for the Tudor Pelagos, a line introduced in 2013 that I think is overlooked quite a bit. And despite it possibly being my favorite Tudor watch, there's no doubt what I think is the most important Tudor watch, especially in recent memory, the Tudor Black Bay. And you probably could argue this particular model that we have here being maybe the most important Tudor watch ever made. So I've only been an enthusiast during this era of Tudor where the Black Bay has been in existence, but I've always just been a fan of the brand. I own a 1990s Tudor Submariner. I just love the tool watches that they're creating, and they have that ability to kind of walk that line with Rolex while not having to completely have the same pretentious nature that Rolex can sometimes give off with some of their watches. However, Tudor, just over the years, in my opinion, always have appeared to struggle a bit with finding a level of differentiation from maybe their bigger brother, you could say, with Rolex. During the 1990s, Tudor was in an experimentation period, introducing new models like the Monarch in 1991 and the Hydronaut in 1999. Two lines that quickly ran out of favor of the public and ultimately Tudor, with them, in my opinion, being some of the uglier lines Tudor has ever really made. But with designs like these and removing itself from the American market, Tudor was a bit at a crossroads on how they were going to be positioned going forward. And leading into the 2000s, Tudor was completely out of the American market until starting to gradually hint at the idea of getting back in it with the introduction of different models. You saw the Heritage Chronos being introduced. And then until 2012, where we saw the announcement of two different sports models that were really announcing as well the reemergence of the brand in the American market with the Tudor Pelagos and the Tudor Black Bay. Both of the models were released in the following year, and there were watches positioned with the hopes of being a re-emergence point, but instead, with the help of this Black Bay, the 79220R, primarily became the point where Tudor changed forever. This particular watch paved the way for other colorways, new in-house calibers, and of course lately led to the release of the really beloved 58 model and the Black Bay GMT. But if I had to put my money on the model that will perhaps be the most collectible, and maybe not that, but at least being classified as the most important Tudor watch ever probably, it is these earlier ETA versions of this watch. Watch coming in with a 41mm case, lug-to-lug of 49.3mm, and a thickness of 12.4mm, letting it work on the majority of the wrists out there, while not feeling overly bulky on the wrist, but compared to a lot of other Black Bays out there, the Black Bay GMT and other variations with the in-house calibers, find that this one does wear pretty well. But one thing I will say about this watch is, based on that left flank on the 9 o'clock side of the watch, there's really no curvature to the case, and it just has a 90-degree drop-off, and does make the watch look rather thick in pictures on the wrist. But that aside, I think everything else about this watch is just so polished, and you can see why it's caught on so quickly. The watch has a consistent brushed finish on the anterior side of the case and on the bracelet, with polishing on the sides. The Oyster style bracelet comes with a fold-over clasp featuring ceramic pins to support the locking mechanism, 3 micro adjustment points, and similar to my Tudor Black Bay 36 reviews, I think just Tudor bracelets in general, these fold-over clasps, are just really solid for the price. The watch also showcases a burgundy 60-click unidirectional bezel that works well with the accents of gold throughout the dial. Yet unlike other Tudor Black Bays, this Tudor has a few things that differentiate itself while providing more reasoning behind the heritage moniker, with the inclusion of the rounded lettering at the 6 giving a minimalist style, while playing off its old school roots with a lot of vintage Tudor Submariner vibes with the Tudor Rose at the 12, as well as seeing it signed on the crown. So really kind of a nice shout out to the 7922s. This Tudor Submariners introduced in 1954. And the point of bringing up past Submariners, I think, is an important aspect of this watch, as I see this design really marrying the design language of the 7922 and the 716s Tudor Submariners with the introduction of a Tudor Snowflake hand, all here being delivered with a great modern package with incredible lume on the watch, some of the best lume I think out there, especially in this price range of around $2,000 to $4,000 that you can find in the new and then also the pre-owned market. And despite having an ETA 2824 in here, reliable movement, and in my case with my Tudor Submariner, I found it to be really useful movement just to have in one of these watches. The service costs are just so much less than a lot of in-house calibers, and you can just go right down the street if you're in any major metropolitan area to a watchmaker and they'll take care of it for you. For me, I mean, we're talking 150, 200 bucks for getting a full service of a movement. When if you've ever got some other movements ever fully serviced, you'll understand that's a pretty good deal. But what I think makes this model so special and why I think it could be a future classic for the same reason so many people love the 6542, the 6204, the CK2915 Speedy. There's something to be said about being the first. And for collectors, classifications like the first sells. And I know a lot of people are claiming these will just jump up in value, but you never really know, just given the amount of volume that they were producing of these models. There's going to be a lot out there. But when combining all this together, when you combine all the factors that make this watch special, with this one being one of the most important luxury watches from the 21st century, a legacy that will continue to be built upon with each new model released from the Black Bay line, and I know there'll be plenty more, trust me on that one. But all that makes me believe that this watch will be one that we will look back on as maybe the point where Tudor changed forever. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. I'd be interested to know as well, we talk about maybe like these modern classics, so maybe in the 21st century or maybe in the 1990s, what other watches have you seen being introduced that you think in, say, 30, 40, 50 years time are gonna be models that we're gonna look back to maybe in the same fondness that we look back to models that were maybe introduced in the 60s, 70s, and 80s today? I'd love to see comments down below. And what else would you like to see from the Tudor Submariner line in the future? I know I'd like to see different colorways from the 58. That's kind of why I'm holding out and why I haven't been completely sold in the 58. Not the biggest fan of the colorways, but overall I think there's a lot there, and I think that will also be a model that we look back on as well as being a big milestone for Tudor as well. But also guys, if you're trying to take your watch to the next level or maybe take your collection to the next level, no better place than Bob's Watches to purchase a watch. They were nice enough to let me spend some time with this Tudor Black Bay here and do this video, and they're a great partner. I've purchased many watches from them. If you use the link in the description, it's an affiliate link. I get a commission if you purchase anything, so I'd really appreciate that as that really helps out the channel. As well as going to teddybaldassarre.com. We have some amazing straps available with more coming on the way, but if you're really trying to take that next step up, I think people need to invest in their straps and allowing to get the most out of your collection. And also, we have a few giveaways coming up. Make sure you fill out the watch giveaway form and then follow me on Instagram. I have important updates there. I'm also posting some really awesome photos of watches. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.